Alright, now that I got two movies out of the way that I really didn't care to see, man, I have the light on this side, man, I'm really getting fucking gray on the side. I'm an old man. What am I gonna do? But finally, I can watch something I enjoy a hell of a lot. This movie is, I think, a perfect example of a remake done right. Like a remake of a film that needed to be remade. Like, enough with all this stuff today of remaking classics and stuff. Remake movies that weren't that good and make them better. And that's what I think Alexander, whatever his last name, how you say it, I know it's French, Aja, Aya, Haya, whatever the fuck his name is. He did High Tension, which is a great movie. Kind of a stupid twist, but I'll do that when I cover that movie, whatever. The Hills Have Eyes remake. He produced and was involved with the Maniac remake from 2012 with Elijah Wood, which I think is one of the greatest remakes ever made. This guy's got a good track record, and he directed this, and I feel like he absolutely succeeded. Like, this is a movie that is just pure fun, like the whole time. Like, you know what to expect, because Joe Dante's original Piranha from what, 78, 77, 78, it's not that good. Like, it really is. So I mean, this is a movie that you definitely they definitely had a lot here that they can add with a remake. And I think Piranha already got a remake, right? In like the early 90s. Never saw that one, don't really care to. But I talk about a lot on this channel about practical effects and how I always side with that over CGI. This is a perfect example too of just it doesn't matter. Like, none of the CGI bothers me in this movie, and it's all over the place. This movie is just pure fun, just tits and ass shoved in your face, and just gory, great kills from crazy piranha that escaped from an underwater lake from who knows when and how long. 2 million years, I think, if I remember correctly. I haven't seen this movie in a while. Awesome. Like, how can you not have fun with this movie? You have Elizabeth Shue here. Great. We got Ving Rhames. There's so many people here. Richard Dreyfuss in the beginning has his little cameo and call back to Jaws. Because, I mean, Piranha, let's be honest. When Joe Dante's Piranha was pretty much a rip off of Jaws. Just take the shark away, throw a bunch of piranha. There's your movie. Like, so this is a rare example for me of a movie that, and a remake at that, that absolutely deserved to be made. And I'm so glad it was made because that's what we should be doing. That's what filmmakers should be doing. If they really need to remake movies and like do these legacy sequels and all that bullshit, which most of the time don't work, go back, find movies that sucked. I'm not saying the original Piranha sucked, but you know what I'm saying. Movies that are either not too good to bad to terrible, but had good concepts, just executed poorly. This is a pure example of that, and it's so much fun. Let's talk Piranha 3D from 2010. Tiny little thing, but I love that little monitor lizard at the very beginning. He's just like chilling and crawling on the rock. You don't get to see that too often in horror movies. And since I was just talking about Scream 5 and Scream in general, with all this self-reference and meta humor and meta stuff thrown in those movies that is just hammered over your head. Opening of this movie is a perfect little meta reference, like with just Richard Dreyfuss singing "Show Me the Way to Go Home," like him and Quentin. What the other guys? I don't know why I'm blanking on it. When they're singing the song on the boat in Jaws, great little callback here. Just having the song playing and him singing along to it. That's all you need. I'm sure a lot of people who never saw Jaws for some reason had no idea that what that was. Why it was just a song he's humming to at the beginning of this. But it's a great little callback to a classic movie. Were those two scorpions fucking? Because they just showed two scorpions that were like entangled with each other. I don't know, random thought. Were they fucking or were they fighting each other? And just a full disclaimer, I'm not an expert on any way on scorpions. So I don't know how they fuck or anything like that. If you're an expert, let me know. And that whole opening scene's awesome. Like with the piranha coming up from the quake or whatever that made a rift, whatever it is, I don't know. There's an underwater lake under the ocean floor, basically. And the piranha have been living down there for who knows how long. Pretty sure it's 2 million years that they were supposed to be extinct. And we have Christopher Lloyd in here playing a crazy old marine biologist. How do you not love that? You have Kelly Brook, which shout out Mike, I know you love her. Who doesn't? There's you got who else is in here? You got Adam Scott. You have what's his name? Something McConnell, who plays the douchebag. He's in coincidentally he's in one of the Scream movies. And I was just talking about Kevin Williamson in the last two videos. We have Stephen R. McQueen, who plays Jeremy Gilbert on The Vampire Diaries, is like the main dude in this. So it's always kind of funny how that always works out. You watch one movie and then the next one you watch has some type of link to the one you were just watching or talking about. Always seems to work out that way. But the whole opening with Richard Dreyfuss and stuff and getting eaten by a piranha and his hand comes up. Awesome. So much CGI with the whole whirlpool happening, but like I said, it doesn't matter for a movie like this. This is a movie that you need CGI to make this movie. Like, you really do. And I know Greg Nicotero and Howard Berger did whatever practical effects are here, like on the eating up bodies and stuff like that. And like always, they kill it in this movie, for sure. Now, this should go without saying. The whole spring break setting and just titties everywhere, awesome. But I don't know. I don't know if it's just I'm not a teenager in my 20s anymore or whatever, but I never understood the appeal of spring break. Like, yeah, there's tits everywhere. I've seen enough tits in my life. Like, you see a few, you've seen them all. Like, it's really, I don't know. I've never been into that let's go party on the fucking boats in the water on spring break and watch a bunch of girls show their tits. I don't know. Just never interested me. But seeing it on in movies and on TV, I'll never complain where boobies are at. It's Jerry O'Connell, right? Jerry O'Connell, Jerry McConnell, something like that. But he plays Derek in this movie, and he was in Tomcats, do I want to say, or Wildcat. He's been in a lot of shit, but he plays like the just over the top douchebag director, like for pornos. He plays that role so well. Like, I can't picture anybody else playing him in this, like this character. Like, he kills it. And so we have Jake, played by Stephen R. McQueen, and he's a local here, and this like whole town, I think it's Lake Victoria, it's called, is basically a huge spot for spring break. And it brings in a ton of money and helps the economy in this town. And he has to end up babysitting his younger brother and sister, Zane, and something. She has a name. She has a name. I'll get it to you. But cute kids, and they do a good job of putting them in semi-danger, like later on. Still wish they kind of killed one of them. Like, I know that sounds terrible, but like, I don't know. I like when movies go that far. Like when with the Blob remake from '88, when the kid gets killed by the Blob, you don't expect that, like at all. And you don't see it in a lot of movies. That's why maybe like one of them should have been killed in this. But we get the kid at the end of Piranha 3DD, or 3 double D, whatever you want to call it. We get that kid who gets decapitated in the stupidest way at the end of that movie, so it makes up for it. But yeah, Jake is going to show Derek all around the area and the best places to go while he's shooting this porno. And he has some relationship with this girl Kelly in the past. I'm guessing they either liked each other or they dated and broke up. I don't remember if they mentioned it. But the whole thing here with Elizabeth Shue, she's the sheriff and Jake's mom. And I love when she knocks on the door and then just walks in. And he has like the Wild Girls, like the video that Derek is trying to shoot. Like, it's kind of like Girls Gone Wild. So I'm just going to call it that. The whole Girls Gone Wild thing on his computer. And then he's like, damn it, Mom. Like... And then she talks to him, and then she leaves and shuts the door, and he puts it back on his computer, and she walks in again, and he's like, Mom, God damn it. That's hilarious. And damn it, I know this is 12, 13 years ago, but Elizabeth Shue still looking good. Like, after all those years. Still looks great in this movie. So we got Elizabeth Shue, the sheriff, and Ving Rhames, which, what happened to him? Like you never see him anymore. And if he died, I didn't hear about it. So hopefully he didn't. But I love him and everything I've seen him in. And you never see him anymore. At least I don't. But they're both. She's the sheriff. He's like the deputy, and they're checking out the boat that Dreyfus. I don't know his character's name. Does he even have a name? I don't think so. But they go to investigate the boat that was abandoned, like his boat, and see what happened to him. And Ving Rhames is saying that they're sending out seismologist divers in the morning to check out the activity that happened in the lake, and she has to take them out there, the sheriff. I'll get her name in a sec. And when they pull out Dreyfus's body, looks really cool. Like all the whole like ending of this movie, when just everybody is getting fucking eaten apart by these piranha, awesome. Like it all builds to that so well in this movie. The next one, 3 Double D, is a much worse film. Like it's so bad compared to this, but it's still in that realm of they know how bad it is. They know how stupid and cheesy it is, and it just works. Like there's so much fun. But this, without a doubt, is the best. Like versus the one after this, Double D, it's not even a question. Like this one, this movie is absolutely a blast. And Elizabeth Shue says, maybe we should close the lake. And Ving Rhames, I wish I had their names, like in this movie, but he starts saying that, this is such a big weekend and everything for our town. It would be easier to drain the lake than to shut it. But if you pulled out a guy looking like that corpse does, I don't care how big of a weekend it is, like it is for the town. Close the goddamn lake. Like this guy looks like he was either like dragged through a garbage compactor or eaten alive by a bunch of little fish, which we find out that's that's exactly what it is. So I would not let anybody into that lake until at least they do an autopsy like they mentioned. It'll take a few days. All right, let those few days go by, because I wouldn't let anyone in this lake, God forbid it's toxic something, or like who knows, like an acid that came up from the ground, sea level. It could be anything. Why risk the lives of 20,000 kids, is what she says, just came to the town for spring break. So you got 20,000 people that came to this town. I get how enticing that is, make your money off everybody. But like still, you'd much rather have a safe environment here than what turns out happening. I think, man, could you imagine the lawsuits that they knew about this and they didn't close it right away? Man, I would love to. I would love to be a lawyer who takes that case. All the extras in this movie, like all the partiers and everything like that, they must have had so much fun. Like when this movie was being filmed, like I'm not sure. I never looked up on like behind the scenes with this. I would not be surprised if they actually went somewhere during spring break, and filmed all this, like for the extras. Would not be surprised, because these people look like they are having an absolute ball like doing this. So I don't know, maybe it was during spring break somewhere. I'll look that up, but I doubt it. But you never know. But they are absolutely enjoying the shit out of themselves, and it's just fun to see them all doing that. Like it really feels like spring break here, or at least all the things that you think spring break is about. I say tit, you say eat, tit, eat. Fucking people, who does that? Who says this shit? And the whole character of Derek in this movie, like I said, he does a great job. He kills it with this role. This is just the type of person that I cannot be around. I just can't. Like, you could pay me all the money in the world. Like he's paying Jake here. Who knows how much? Probably not a lot. She doesn't end up paying him anything in the end of this, because he has no dick, which is hilarious, that whole scene. I can't be around people like that. Like, to quote a great comic that I love, if I know your sexuality within the first 30 seconds of meeting you, you're fucking annoying. Like, whether you're like jump out of the cake, fucking ride a float down a parade, like homosexual, or if you're just like this guy, just like mud flaps with naked women on it, and just go jerk off somewhere, you fucking teenager, and then get back to me. Like, I can't stand people like that. So all the money in the world would not get me on a boat with him. All the most gorgeous women in the world would not get me on a boat with this guy. I wouldn't be able to take it. Can't be around people like this. And again, these kids are hilarious. Like Jake's younger siblings. Still don't remember the girl's name, but Zane I know, and that I just like last week or so did the Goosebumps episode Night of the Living Dummy 3, and there's a Zane in that. Maybe that's why I'm remembering his name so much, but they are absolutely hysterical. When they get in the boat and they're like, oh, well, because Jake ends up paying them $60 so he can go do this whole porn thing and like show them around while the kids are supposed to stay home, not leave the house. But what do? I mean, they're kids. Of course they're going to not listen to that. And they get on the little rowboat and they start rowing off, and the girl's like, I should have brought my trombone. And he's like, just be a girl for once and sunbathe or something. He's like, all right, let me, I'll, see if I make you one of my groupies when I'm a rock star. And he says, hello, you play the trombone. Like, those kids crack me up. All right, the whole scene with the two naked chicks on the boat with Derek and Jake and all that, swimming underwater like they're mermaids, completely naked. Absolutely brilliant. Like, hilarious as shit with the choir music, that old classic and no one knows the name of, playing in the background, and they're swimming around like mermaids. And they're sexy as shit too. Like, what a great scene. Like, this is what makes this movie just a total blast, like, to watch. Just crazy gore and kills, fucking murderous piranha, Christopher Lloyd, and just everything. Like, I don't have a negative about this movie. It's one of those movies that I can watch and just put everything else out of my mind. Just be like, I can't overanalyze this movie because it's supposed to be out of its mind. It's supposed to be completely crazy and just a good time. So that's what I have to take it as. I can't go over-analyzing this movie like I usually do. I still will, of course, but not as much as other stuff. I love how Derek calls them, look at these goddess aquatic bitches when they're looking through like the glass bottom of the boat. Awesome, so funny. I don't know why Derek is so surprised that Jake has a mom, like everyone does. Like, he picks the phone up, he's like, Mom. And then Derek's like, Mom. I mean, I get it. I mean, he's in this environment and stuff like that. Why are you talking to your mom? Like, when you got these naked bitches fucking floating all around and, like, looking like mermaids and shit. Mesmerizing stuff. But just the way he says it. Just, Mom. It's like, yeah, he's got a mother. Like, I'm sure you do too. Like, we all do. So, I don't get that line. Laura. That's the little girl's name. Jake's sister. So, Zane and Laura. But this whole thing when he's picking the phone up and talking to his mom, this woman doesn't know he's lying, that he's full of shit. Like, he's saying that he's with the kids. They don't sound like kids. Like, because Derek keeps talking and, like, screaming shit. This mom doesn't hear that. I mean, she's on a boat going pretty fast, like with the diver, with Adam Scott and, like, his crew. So, I mean, I get it. She probably doesn't hear well. But still, it's like any parent knows when their kid's full of shit like that. And he's absolutely full of shit. And she should have noticed this, like, much earlier in the movie. As in, like, right now. Like, as in what I just said. Should have noticed it right there. Alright, this is so small of a thing, but I was never a Boy Scout. So, I'm not an expert on knots. But Zane and Laura, the little kids, when they go to the sand island, and then they lose the boat, and Zane says, I must have gotten my knots mixed up. Wouldn't any knot, like, keep the boat there? Like, does it matter if you mix what knot you're trying to do up? If you're mixing up knots, you're still tying a knot of some sort, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he says he mixes knots up. Okay, but that means you should still have a knot. No matter which it was supposed to be, you still have a knot there. So the boat should still be there. If he said, all right, I forgot how to tie a knot, then maybe. But like I said, it's such a small thing, it's just stupid. So this is why you never want to be the first person to explore anything. Why? Because she says right here, one of the divers, that after getting the whole exposition from Adam Scott saying that the quake opened up like a ridge here and stuff, and an opening that merged the top lake with the subterranean lake under it, and that this it's part of a whole volcanic area that's in this area or some shit. And she says like that's the beauty of it, like we get to explore it for the first time, and then they get eaten alive by piranhas. Just like in the Descent, when they go exploring that cave system and saying no one's ever explored it. Look what happened to them. They get eaten alive by fucking bat creatures. You never want to be the first person to explore something. Always let one or two first. That way you know it's safe. Then you can go and explore it and have a great time. It's not worth that number one to get eaten alive by piranha or by bat creatures or by anything that you could think of. This is a reason too that I don't like the ocean. Like, I'm not afraid of the ocean. I don't have a fear of like the water. But like, we have no idea what's out there. Like water, like I don't think what is it, 5% of the world's oceans we explored. So like 95% or more is unexplored. We have no idea what's there. This is a great example. Like just a lake under a lake, and who knows what the fuck is down there. I don't know. But I've only been out on a boat in the middle of the ocean maybe like 3 or 4 times, and I did not enjoy it. Like, I can go to the beach. I can go in it. It's not like I can't go in the ocean. But like deep sea, like fishing, or like deep sea, like just you and there's nothing around you at all. I don't know. I can't do that. I just really can't. Because who the hell knows what's down there? Like, of course, this is a movie. But I'm sure the 2 divers here never in a million years expected to dive down there and find a whole bunch, thousands of killer prehistoric piranha. I'm sure they never thought of that in a million years if that's what happened. But it does. Because who knows? So I don't know. That's my whole thing with the ocean and water. But I love when they're in this cavern system and like in this subterranean lake exploring it, and we see like all the like pillars almost of eggs of piranha that are everywhere, and then we see the egg like float up into the camera, and we just see like the little baby piranha inside the egg, but then we see a ton of eggs like throughout this whole area. It looks great. Like all the underwater shots in this movie look awesome. Like I don't have a single complaint with any of the water shots, underwater stuff. Like they utilize underwater camera great in this movie, especially when they're showing piranha like near the end and everyone's getting eaten alive, and they show people under the water getting killed and then like go back up above the water. Like all of that, all the camera work is great in this movie. Like I love everything that they did with this. Like, can you imagine being this diver and lighting that underwater flare or whatever that is, and just seeing a whole school of pissed off looking piranha like right in front of you, and then they just rush you and just eat you alive? Oh, it's gotta be such a bad, painful death. I love when the eyeball is floating in the water and the piranha just comes and fucking snatches it in its mouth and eats it. And when they pull the body out of the water, or when Adam Scott's character, when he gets into the boat again, and he's like, oh my god, and he looks at the body of the diver, and it's just mutilated. Like, it looks great. Like, I'm sure that was Nicotero and Berger right there. But, like I said, the CGI doesn't matter here, because you got one of the piranha just flopping around. You know it's CGI. This is a movie that, like I said at the very beginning, deserved to be remade like this from Dante's original. Because you just couldn't make this movie back in the late 70s. Like, showing all the piranha and them floating around to the ocean and floating around, swimming around. All of this. Like, that's why this is one movie that I'm so glad was remade. And they should take advice from this movie. They should take some messages from here and be like, all right, we should remake some other older movies that couldn't reach the potential that they could have if they had better effects or bigger budget or anything like that. Perfect example right here. That whole scene with the body shots and stuff like that they're doing of the women. Funny, but then when Jake goes to do it on Kelly, He doesn't do it right. Like, isn't Derek specifically said that, like, lick the salt, then drink up the tequila, then get the lime? Because he goes for the tequila first, then licks the salt, then goes for the lime before she 3D pukes off the side of the boat, which I'm sure that would be fun to see in 3D. Julie, that's the sheriff's name, Elizabeth Shue. Julie. And come on, who doesn't love Christopher Lloyd? Like in everything. This guy he can play anything. But he plays just the eccentric, crazy person, like scientist or whatever, in so many movies, and he just kills it every time. So just seeing Christopher Lloyd here, and we get him in the sequel to this also, is awesome. And then him explaining, and it was 2 million years. Like, I don't know how I remembered that. Like, of all the things to remember, is remembering how old these piranha were when they were supposed to go extinct 2 million years ago from the movie Piranha 3D. Of all the movies, of all the things to remember, I got to remember that. So I got that right. They disappeared off the face of the planet 2 million years ago. Apparently not, because they're here. But I love this whole little scene with him talking about them. And just him doing his crazy Christopher Lloyd self. And just awesome. Love it. I love this scene. When like the random people on some boat are pulling the girl with the humongous tits on like the parasail. And then she's like falls into the water partially. And then you know she's getting eaten by piranha. And then when she lifts back up, her whole like both her legs have been eaten off. That looks so good. Like, awesome scene. And this is one of so many reasons I can't stand people like Derek. Like, they see these two little kids, Jake's siblings, stranded on an island. Don't even know about the piranha yet. But just the fact that they're two little kids on an island waving for help. And this guy doesn't understand. This guy's like, all he's concerned about is his money shot for his porno. That, let's be honest, it's not even a fucking porno. It's just like softcore at best. So who's watching this nowadays? Or even 10 years ago, 12 years ago, whatever, when this came out. But what an asshole. Like, I can't believe that well, I can. Like, trust me. There are people like that out there. But I would never be able to do that. Seeing two young kids stranded on an island, that would be my first fucking priority right there. It's like, we gotta go help these people. We gotta go help these kids. Not, oh shit, I'm gonna miss some titties flying with a parasail. But he should have kept filming, because he would have got an awesome shot that we get to see of her flying in the air with no legs, which look awesome, again. And I know most people are split on Eli Roth, but I adore the guy. I don't love all his movies, but man, does he have a passion for horror. And a passion for film that just glows and radiates off of him whenever he talks about horror or filmmaking or anything like that. If you ever saw his History of Horror show, it's great. Like, every interview I've seen with him, he just lights up whenever he talks about horror and film in general. So, say what you will about his movies, I fucking adore him. And just seeing him here in this little small role here, with him just being one of the party dudes, and if I recall correctly, he gets a pretty cool death scene later on. But just seeing him is awesome. And, I mean, I know that he probably knows this, Ving Rhames' character, when he shoots the gun in the air to get everyone's attention, shut the music off, and he just starts saying that the sheriff has declared an emergency and get out of the water. I'm sure he knew this would happen, but no one's listening to that. Like, you got thousands of fucking teenage 20-year-olds, whatever they are here, partying for spring break. Do you know how fucked up most of these kids are? Like, at this point, like, absolutely. Like, 2-3 sheets to the wind plus whatever drugs they are enjoying. They're not listening to this. And I'm glad they have it go that route. And just like, he's, oh, we got beer. And then the guy just jumps in the water. And the guy hits the DJ just hits the music back on. Like, that's 100% what would happen. Like, every time. If I had two younger siblings like that, because I mean, I have a daughter that looks around their age, 8 years old. Maybe they're a little older. I can never tell the age of kids, like when I see them in movies. But if some coked out douchebag like handled my daughter or handled my younger siblings if I had some this age, the way that he does, like he's just picking them up and throwing them in the boat basically. Oh, I would go off on this guy. I already would have 10 seconds into leaving on the boat with him. That's why I said I can't be around these type of people. But man, if I saw him just picking up my little brother and sister and basically throwing them in the boat, oh, that would be the end of Derek right there. He wouldn't even get to be eaten by piranha. Like he wouldn't have that luxury. Like, oh, what I would do to this guy. And what's his name? Stephen R. McQueen, who plays Jake, the main dude here from the Vampire Diaries. I can't say he does a great job because all I see him as is Jeremy from the Vampire Diaries. So like, he plays the same exact character here, but I just think he's a cool dude. So like, I can't harp on his acting or anything like that. He works for me 100% in this. And I'm glad that they portrayed Derek like this and that he gives such a great performance as Derek in this movie. Because when he dies, he it's so satisfying. Like, it's so satisfying. And it's probably arguably the best kill in this movie. And just his last lines and everything, oh, it's so funny. But we're about to see Piranha just eat the shit out of everybody right now, which is such a great scene, man. How do you not love this? All right, now, of course, it's a movie. As soon as I saw one or two people, like, if I saw one, I'd be out. But let's say you're on a different side of the water and you don't see one of these bitches get eaten. The first person I see that's being eaten alive and the water's turning red, I would be out of that water so fucking fast. Like you have no idea. Quicksilver I would turn into and be gone onto the beach. So the fact that this many people get eaten and killed by piranha is a little insane. But I mean, like I said, that's the whole point of this movie. And it makes for such a great scene. This next few minutes is probably just going to be talking about the effects and stuff, but I love when the school of piranha like all circle around that one chick and bring her down under and then rips her eye out and like her skeleton's exposed. Looks awesome. And then the whole thing with the stage where the DJ is, when too many people get on it and it's starting to lift up like the Titanic before it sinks, like all of that is great. Like this whole scene is an absolute blast. Oh yeah, then the girl the girl when the cable snaps and like goes right through her here and it cuts off, like it cuts her in half here, but it like her bra falls off. So one of her tits exposed and the other one's not until like a few seconds later her top half falls into the water. Like that's a neat touch. Like we've seen that happen a lot of times in movies, like with a cable just going through somebody. Nice touch though with the bra falling off halfway and one like breast exposed and then her top half falls into the water. I mean, so CGI, but it doesn't matter for a movie like this. Yeah, Eli Roth's character, he's trying to get on the boat and another boat hits him and his head just fucking explodes and all the blood goes all over the girl in the boat he was trying to get into. Hilarious. And the whole thing of shooting at these piranha, like Adam Scott's character has a fucking shotgun and he's shooting at these things. And then she puts, whatever her name was, Julie, right? Elizabeth Shue, sheriff. She shoots her taser into the water. Yeah, cool, but you ain't getting rid of all these piranha by shooting them. I mean, come on. And there's bullets flying all over the place. You can hit these kids, these civilians. Like, that's such a stupid idea. But again, this is the type of movie it is. It's kind of like on the border for me between like movies like Sharknado that are like completely out of there, completely stupid and over the top, and a little bit more serious movies. Like, I don't think this is a serious movie at all, obviously, but it is a lot more serious than those type of movies, the Sharknadoes and all those just terrible, terrible movies that are still fun as shit to watch. This is definitely much higher, like on the list. But the whole thing with shooting the piranha is so stupid. Oh, the girl who gets her hair stuck in the propeller, and the guy is such a dick he doesn't even know that or pay attention to it. He just keeps starting the engine or the motor, whatever. I'm not a boat person. And then it just rips her hair off and also rips like her skin off and you just see like the skeleton. That looks great. Like, awesome, awesome kill. And all of this, like, there must be 50 of these kids who get murdered by these piranha. Like, either eaten alive, dead, or are just severely wounded. Like, it's just a massacre. When they're showing all the bodies that they pulled out of the water onto boats and everything, like, this is chaos that happened here. And it's just so much fun. All right, and then we see the whole thing when the piranhas show up where Jake and Derek in the boat are with everybody. When he's under the water with the one chick who's getting just eaten alive, and he's right there. So I don't know why they're not eating him either. I mean, they do in a second or two. But right then and there, he should have been getting bit also. But then I love when, like, the piranha, like, bursts out of her mouth. And he's just like, holy shit, under the water. So funny. And then they pull Derek out of the water, man, and it looks fantastic. Like, just his whole lower half is eaten away, and his skeleton is on his legs, his bones, it's just down to bare bones. And his last words are, Jake, they took my penis. They took my penis. Took my penis. Like, those are his last words. So on his tombstone, it should say, Derek, whatever his last name is, director of whatever, Girls Gone Wild, and piranhas took his penis. Because those are such fitting last words for the character that he is. And then you see his penis floating in the water, and one of the piranha come and grab it in the mouth, grabs it in his mouth. Then another one comes and fights over it for a few seconds, and then one of them just swallows it, and then he comes back around, swims back around, and, like, vomits, like, the remains up, like, spits it right out. That's so funny. Absolutely hysterical. And it reminds me of a scene that always gets me in this movie. In Teeth, with the vagina dentata. If anyone hasn't seen Teeth, skip forward like 30 seconds. But when the brother or stepbrother, whatever he is, the tattooed asshole who's just always causing shit, and he's always in his room, either fucking his girlfriend or whatever chick it is, and has like the nasty ass dog, when he gets his dick bitten off by, I want to say Dawn, right, is her name, from Teeth, the main chick? Probably, I don't know. Now I'm thinking about it, I might want to watch that soon. But when she starts having sex with him and bites his dick off, and then it just falls out of her on the floor, and then that dog comes over and starts sniffing at it, and the brother's like, no, put it down, put it down. The dog has it in his mouth, and then and his reaction, oh, it kills me every time when as soon as the dog finally, like, chews on it and swallows it, and he goes, no, no. Oh, dude, that kills me. Women who watch this, yeah, now you know why, like, any type of harm to us men by our penis or in that area, it's because of shit like this. Like, we do not want anything like this happening to us ever. But, oh, that's such an effective scene in Teeth. It reminded me of that heavily just now. I love when Ving Rhames takes the propeller from the boat off, and he just starts murdering piranha left and right with the motor and the propeller, just cutting them up. And it's like, yeah, get out of the water. And then I remember in the sequel to this, in 3 Double D, that he's in it again, and he has no legs because they get eaten off here by the piranha. And he's like, I ain't afraid of no punk-ass water. I ain't afraid of no punk-ass water. He's so great, man, in both these movies and everything he's in. Now, I remember in the next movie them maybe possibly saying how many casualties there were. I'm pretty sure they mentioned something. But I just counted. Like, when they had, like, a panning shot, there's, like, at least 25 bodies floating in the water. And then that's not even counting all the people on the boats. So I don't know how high the number is, but it's definitely like 100 or more. So I think it's a lot lower in the next movie when they actually say how many people. But at least 100 people got either killed or severely injured here on this day with all this chaos going on. So then we have the boat sinking, which Yeah, I know they say they're stuck on rocks, so it's probably not deep at all. But you see the size of that glass in the bottom of the boat that you can see through? That thing breaks, this boat is gone. Like by now, this boat should be submerged in water, but it's not. It's probably, like I said, the depth of the water maybe because they got stuck on the rocks. So I'm guessing it's not like you can even look at their boat, like the sheriff and Adam Scott's boat. It looks like it's barely in the water. So maybe it's just that. And then having them climb across the rope, it's suspenseful. And then that one, the other girl that's left alive, her saying, like, when Elizabeth Shue says to her, "Can you do this? Like, crawl your way over this rope to the other boat?" And she says, I don't pole dance for nothing." Apparently she wasn't a good pole dancer because she gets eaten to shit, like, immediately. Conveniently, though, when Sheriff Julie falls into the water for a few seconds, none of the piranha want to eat. And then Jake thinks of the brilliant plan of just tying the rope around his neck. Not his neck. Yeah, he just wants to hang himself. Tying it around himself to get pulled by the boat after he rescues Kelly, who's stuck in the bottom of the boat. I hope he didn't mix his knots up because that's like some plan to pull off, which they do, which is unbelievable. Oh, that's right. Derek isn't dead yet. He pops. His last words are not, "They took my penis." His last words are, "Wet t-shirt." Wet t-shirt. Twice. And then he just dies. So I like the other ones better as his last words. Like, "They took my penis." That just works so much better. But I get it. And then him just carrying the body and throwing it into the water and having a little distraction so he can get to Kelly. Smart idea. And like I said, his whole plan here is ridiculous. Of him turning on the gas and then tying the rope around him and then having Kelly hold on to him and then lighting the flare and then having the boat pull him out of Come on, man. This plan's never working. The way that this story really ended is they fucking died. Like, immediate. Kelly's already dead in reality. Like I said, there's all this water coming to this boat. I don't care how deep it is. The water's going to keep coming in. The piranha are, like, right on her. Like, jumping at her. She's fucking dead. And then they make out here and stuff. Like, this is the time for this. Like, anytime I see this in movies, when, like, two people who were love interests throughout the movie or whatever, or they were past husband and wife and they have to do some crazy shit together and it brings them back together, they always got to make out or kiss or embrace or whatever, like, at the wrong moment. And it's like, dude, just get the hell out of here first. Then you can kiss all you want. Like, when you know you're alive. Like, get out of the piranha-ridden water. And then worry about that shit then. Because you're not going to even be alive to enjoy this whole little relationship if you just waste time here, which they do. They still survive, stupidly. Like, I understand the plan of just, like, having the rope around him and having her hold on and drag them fast out of the boat. Cool. But the whole, like, flare, blowing the boat up and stuff with the gas, I mean, yeah, it's just for the movie, for the end. But it's stupid. Like, why? Like, they kill, what, a few hundred of these piranha? They're still all over the place. So I don't know how they get rid of these things. I completely forget. I think they mention it in the sequel to this. But, I mean, hey, if you can take out a few thousand, or even 1,000 of these things, I guess you're doing the right thing. So, who knows? He was thinking on his feet. And then we just get the radio call from Christopher Lloyd telling him that the specimen that they left with him, that the piranha who killed the divers, all these piranha, are the babies. And then Adam Scott's character, well, where's the parents? So then the one just, huge piranha just jumps out of the water and takes him with him, and then just credits. Like, so much fun. What a great movie. And I kind of wish they went with that whole adult piranha thing. Because in the next movie, they're just all the same size, basically. So I feel like they could have went down that route. But then we'd have, like, huge piranha and shit. So I don't know. But what a great movie. Like, just one of those movies you can throw on and just not think at all. Just complete craziness and in the best way possible. So I'll probably have 3 double D up later tonight. And wherever you're from, hope you're having a good morning or night, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.